We all have a tendency to underestimate the weight of our words. But research has actually shown in order to think a thought, paint a picture, work a math problem, you need words. It's simple. Words allow you to think, see, and interpret the world around you. And it seems like words must be a big deal to God. After all, everything started with a word. I mean, the first words ever spoken were God's, right? At least the first words we know about were, "Let there be light." Well, maybe it's no accident that words have been helping us see ever since. It is interesting that God used words to create a world out of nothing. And God didn't reserve the power of words for himself. Think about Adam. I mean, Adam didn't get to create anything, but he did get to name the animals God created. Adam decided this one is a slug, that's a butterfly, that's a hippopotamus. I mean, isn't it amazing that God gave Adam the creative power to name something? In the same way, God has given to all of us the incredible ability to give meaning, define attributes, and shape perceptions of the created world. God gave humans the power of words, and with that, a tremendous responsibility of communication. But like all things with power, words have the potential to do as much damage as they do good. Words can be used to love or to hate, to encourage or tear down, to turn on a light or to close a door. What you say probably has more of an impact than you think it does. Maybe that's why James warns us that words are just like a bridle on a horse or a rudder on a ship. They're small things, but they have tremendous influence. And when you put words over time, something even more significant happens. They aren't just something you use to win at Scrabble or something you tweet to get more followers. Words over time actually become a collection of messages that impact someone's direction. It's easy to take words for granted because we use them every day. But the words we use not only affect what we see, they affect how we influence others to see. That's why over time, the words you decide to give kids and teenagers are so important. Every time you speak, you're reinforcing or expanding their vocabulary. You're giving them words that will shape how they see the world, how they see themselves, how they think about God. And your words will help them imagine and understand the things that they can't see so they can keep moving in a positive direction. Actually, when you put words over time, they do something unique. Words over time help kids reason. It's really not complicated to understand. You need words to think. So the more words you have, the more ideas you can ideate, intuition you can intuit, thoughts you can think. If you want kids to be able to reason, they need words. Actually, one of the greatest indicators of a child's future success is vocabulary, which is probably why the United States military's Armed Forces qualification test gives twice as much weight to verbal scores as to math scores, or why the SAT is weighted toward verbal abilities 2-to-1. They are acting on the belief that the greater your variety of words, the greater your scope of thinking. I mean, think about it this way. How effective would you be if you were a musician with only 2 notes? A chef with only 3 ingredients, a mechanic with only 1 tool. The truth is, kids need to increase their vocabulary in order to be more successful. If you want to help a kid or teenager be an innovator, problem solver, learner, then give them words. Because if they never expand their vocabulary, they will grow up to be limited, stuck, and dependent. Words over time can also help kids win. If words in general help us think, problem solve, and learn new concepts, a few select words have the ability to shape the way we feel, hope, and dream. If you want a kid to know they matter, then make your words matter. When you talk to them and when you talk about them, the words you use really do matter. The words you use can set them up to feel significant, valued, and unique. Or the words you use can unintentionally limit them, box them in, make them feel trapped. Kristen Ivy is one of our staff who helped write the book Playing for Keeps. In the book, she tells a story about a kid in her class who she said she'll never forget. He had some learning disabilities and was on a number of medications, and he was unsocial. He always kept his head down and never participated in class. Until she said one day she was reading a story that he'd turned in, and in her mind, she was sure that he had plagiarized. This story was just too good. It was too well written. So she was sure it couldn't be his work. When she brought him in, she came to discover that it actually was his writing. She told him that it was incredibly good and well written, and that he had a gift for writing like she'd never seen. The next thing she knew, he was bringing her stories after school unassigned just for feedback. This kid went on to start a writers club at the school and started visiting writer circles at a local bookstore. He actually started performing better in school. A year into college, he wrote her this letter. Listen to what he said. Prior to my sophomore year, I really had no idea as to where I would be going in life. My depression, among other things, was a factor in that. But I really didn't see what sort of skill I had that would be beneficial to society. I felt as if I had nothing to offer. Well, I finally discovered that skill, which ultimately led to others. When you gave me a few words of encouragement after reading the convoluted little story that I turned in as a creative writing assignment. Everything and nothing was its name. And it was the worst thing I had ever written. But this terrible little story contained something unseen to myself, but not to you. Because you said I had potential. He goes on to talk about his newfound confidence. Because when he started writing, he discovered something about his potential. It changed the way he saw himself. It moved him in a better direction. It wasn't that Kristen did anything especially remarkable. It was only a few simple words. They didn't seem or feel significant at the time, but that one conversation, those few words, made a huge impact. Now, as a parent or leader, you might not get many of those stories. You rarely know the impact of your own words. You're not going to hear things often like, wow, I never thought about it that way, or thanks, Mom, your words made me feel so loved, or when you said that, it really changed how I think about that. But over time, the words you use are making an impact. They communicate value to the kids in your life and help them win. One more thing that words over time can do is they can help kids believe. Have you ever considered that most of what you know about God, you know through words? Our theology is expressed in words like gospel, redemption, grace. They each help us understand certain characteristics of God's nature. That's why the words you give to kids and teenagers matter when it comes to faith. Your analogies, adjectives, and questions will shape how they think about God. You are literally giving kids a spiritual vocabulary when you give them words over time. Playing for keeps simply means you get serious about what you say with your words. You make it a point to wrestle with what you say and how you say it. You expand your vocabulary so you can be more effective at communicating the things that are important. Let's get practical. As a leader or parent, it's just critical to learn to speak in a language that kids understand. In some cases, that will happen automatically simply by hanging out with kids. You actually might find yourself saying some pretty remarkable things like, don't sit on your brother's face, or you're wrong, a gorilla really would destroy a bear in a fight, or can you use your big kid voice and ask nicely with a happy heart? By the way, you might not want to say that last one to a group of 11th grade guys. You'd probably lose a little respect. But keep learning, because kids and teenagers need new words in every season of life. That's why when you understand the power of words over time, you're intentional about expanding your vocabulary in a way that translates and communicates differently to every stage of life. If you want to turn on a light and help someone see, then you have to understand a little bit about how they think and process life as a kindergartner, or as a 4th grader, or as an 11th grader. And remember something else. What you say to a kid will probably not matter much to them unless they know they matter to you. That's why words over time have a greater impact. When you're present in their life consistently, when you like hanging around them, it will affect how they hear what you say. It's really interesting how loving a kid will change how you say what you say, and how loving a kid will also change how they hear what you say. So when you say something this week, say it so it matters, and say it so someone knows they matter, because a few words can have a lasting influence. They can impact the direction of someone's life.